Hello, everyone. Welcome to our webinar. We're just going to wait for a couple more people to join. So in the meantime, take some rest and then we'll start in a bit. Cool. So I see that there are a few people in the audience already, so I will start the webinar. Welcome everyone to our latest product webinar. And with me here is Hugh. So Hugh is the Senior Business Development Manager at Legatics. So we're really excited to show you how you can use Legatics for your M&A transaction in this webinar. So before I start, I'm just going to talk about what Legatics does. So Legatics is a legal transaction management platform that streamlines the way law firms collaborate and close deals with a real-time permissioned checklist, status dashboard, signature management, and closing set automation. Legatics enhances the client experience and provides clarity, reduces risk, and saves time that is typically written off. So what does Legatics actually do? So we do three things. First, we improve lawyer collaboration. So we offer a place for everyone to collaborate in real time across teams and organizations by sharing documents, legal tasks, and also progress dashboards as well. We accelerate legal processes by building specialized tools for lawyers to efficiently manage their time-consuming processes. So for example, we have legal text importer, version tracking, signing, and closing binder creation as well. Third, we improve client satisfaction to give them better oversight on on-demand progress updates and task list, and in general, overall, to reduce the deal time and unnecessary cost associated. So there are a couple of challenges that we've noticed for M&A lawyers from the people that we've been working with. The first thing is that there are a lot of jurisdictions that are involved in M&A transactions. So in M&A deals, there are often a lot of people from different firms and also regions involved in the transaction. So it causes a lot of complexity in communication very often. The second is that there are a lot of regulatory scrutiny as well. So M&A transactions are frequently subjected to intense regulatory scrutiny, and in particular in regulated industries and cross-border deals. And there are a lot of processes such as regulatory approval processes, antitrust concerns, and local compliance requirements that can delay or derail transactions. Third is that there are a lot of involvement from other practice areas. So a lot of M&A lawyers rely on input from other specialists in other practice areas, such as tax, employment, intellectual property, and competition law. And so all those different involvements adds another layer of complexity to the transaction and require lawyers to work with different teams and ensure that their advice is integrated into the structure and documentation. And therefore, there are a lot of other processes apart from the core deal process in an M&A transaction that happens during the whole process. So if those are not being managed well, it can cause a lot of bottlenecks as well. So how Legatics can help M&A lawyers? There are four things that we often talk about. So first is that we offer a single source of truth for lawyers. It means simplifying cross-border coordination by centralizing tasks and ensuring compliance across regions. We also have granular permissioning, which will help you manage your sensitive information and improves transparency for critical approvals. We offer easy collaboration with straightforward internal and third-party setups so you can work with each other really easily. And also we have multiple lists and matter, so this caters for the ancillary process outside of your core deal flow, even in the most complex transactions. So from the start to finish, we cater for different use cases. So from kickoff to due diligence to key document negotiation, completion, and post-completion, Legatics has especially the list itself, is flexible and it caters to different situations depending on the things that you need. And it's also very easily customizable. So I will now pass it on to Hugh to show you how the product itself looks like and how you can use it for your transaction in your day-to-day work.
Thank you very much, Rice, and I will just share my screen here. Let me go. Lovely. So yeah, really looking forward to bringing everyone through Legatics today. I see some familiar people in the audience, so really looking forward to showing it to you, and then the new people showing you kind of how you can utilize Legatics on an M&A deal. Just a bit of background by myself before going into the demo itself. So I was a real estate finance lawyer, but I've used Legatics on multiple deals in real estate finance, but also seen it in transactional space across M&A teams as well. And I'm really looking forward to showing you kind of the impact that Legatics can have on an M&A deal today. So going in here, and Rice, just confirm. Sorry, 1 second. I was about to say, can everyone see my screen? But I can't. Okay, just confirming the screen's okay up on. Great.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah, so this is your home screen when you come into Legatics. And one of the really useful things here is if you're a busy attorney working on, multiple different deals at the same time, you can easily see the deal that's most important to you. You can see when it was created, when it was last active, and just jump into that deal. And that's actually what we're going to do today. So I'm going to go into a particular deal, Project Chicago, which is an M&A deal. And one of the first things you're going to see, and I'll talk about this in a little bit more detail a little bit later on in the demo, is something that's unique to Legatics. And that's the ability to actually run multiple different processes from this dashboard, from your matter, that you can track all of the various processes throughout the deal. I'm going to touch on this deal and I'm going to go into our diligence process. So talk about that kind of diligence Q&A, and I'm going to talk about how you can actually use that process across multiple other kind of activities such as disclosure schedules and warranty disclosure in the UK. And then I'm going to also touch on the closing checklist as well. I've also included just a local counsel tracker, which is basically just showing some of the flexibility that Legatics offers. Again, something I'll touch on later, but some of the flexibility it offers when compared to some other tools on the market. So if I firstly go in just to set the scene, so we're all here for an M&A matter, just to set the scene here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be acting, and I'll go in here, on the sell side. We're going to be acting in a simple private M&A deal. I'm going to be acting on the sell side. This is the team. There's going to be a buy side here as well. And then there's going to be a management team just involved as well on the deal. And the way participants are set up on Legatics, we have three kind of layers to it. So we have the role. So this is the role here, the sell side. We have the organizations within the role, and then we have the individuals within those organizations. So if you're running a deal and you set up your working parties within the transaction, it's a really useful kind of reference point to go back here, see it nicely visually laid out, all the various participants in your deal. And this really helps in like a complex deal when you're kind of, multiple different parties across multiple different maybe law firms or organizations, being able to see all the various components to each of those overall roles, who's on the sell side, who's on the buy side, and where do they sit within that as well. I won't go into it in any great detail now, but one of the kind of features that really makes Legatics stand out is the granular permissioning that's offered. And the first iteration of this, which I just want to touch on quickly, is actually the ability to hide organizations within a deal. So if you're basically doing something like a bidding process, which some law firms are involved in, maybe you're acting for the sell side and you're taking different bidders, you can actually hide organizations so they can't see each other. And basically they're feeding all their documents in, you're reviewing them, or maybe with your investment banking colleagues, and basically then you're making a decision off that. So Legatics really does help from the very start of the deal. But as I've said, this would be what you'd kind of start with. You'd set up your working parties and then get into the deal itself. Diving into our dashboard. So one thing I want to talk about before going into these lists is just how easy it is on Legatics to actually get your M&A matter set up. And one of the kind of, I think, key pain points that any firm has in adopting new legal tech. And one of the questions we've had historically is just how easy is it to actually get this into Legatics? We know all the benefits of using a digital platform. It's easily accessible. You're able to collaborate a lot more effectively. You're able to kind of have everything at your fingertips, and you're able to coordinate a lot more effectively on your deal. But just how easy is it to actually get that deal set up? So firstly, you can kind of build out your list using something called our matter wizard. That's a really simple tool. But actually, when you have the matter built out, and you can do it from a template, or you can actually build out lists within your template. So we've created a number of different ways that make it incredibly easy to import a list or build from an existing list or build from a template. And you can import directly from legal text. You can drag and drop an Excel that connects with your iManager and NetDocs. You can also drag or drop a Word table and just create a digital list in an instant. Or you can use an existing list. Maybe you're working for a private equity team, and maybe there's a number of M&A deals that are really, really similar as you're going through, and you just want to use the same lists again. You select that, pick your deal, and you can generate it from there. And finally, you can actually build out your own templates. So one of the things that firms have always said to us is, the Legatics templates, which are here, are great, but we're actually looking to build out our own. We have our own ways of working. Our M&A team in New York works differently to our M&A team in London, or our banking and finance team. We want to basically store the knowledge of that team, build out a template, and then use it for that team. And Legatics basically allows you to really easily do that through building out your own templates, selecting a template, clicking on create, and then you can generate it from there. I'm not going to build out a list today, but I just did want to touch on that and just how easy it is to actually build out processes within Legatics. But what I did want to go into in a little bit more detail is the Q&A functionality that Legatics offers, and I'm going to just go into this diligence Q&A list. So Legatics is entirely flexible. Now, what does that mean? Legatics looks, as I've set it up here, like maybe a word checklist that you'd use, but you can create it in any way you'd like. And what I mean by that is you can move your columns around. You can make any of your columns bigger. You can add additional columns here. So I can add a date column, files, free text, responsibility, status, comments. Any of these, I can create basically a flexible list that reflects the way that I want to operate. When we first actually built this out, so this is a new feature that came with Legatics 2, which was launched about a year and a half ago. And one of the things we immediately saw was some of our law firms started using Legatics for this Q&A process. So a due diligence Q&A, or in real estate inquiries on title, or disclosure schedules, anything that involves the coordination of two parties asking questions, answering, supplying references to documents, or supplying their documents. Legatics really, really sped up that process. And there's a couple of reasons why that happened. So this is set up with a typical buyer request. So the buyer is about to purchase this company, or they're interested, and basically they're asking all their questions. The seller is coming back with all of the replies, and then the buyer is adding their follow-up comments. One of the big advantages of using something like this as opposed to an Excel is, firstly, you're able to collaborate with all parties at the same time. So the question and answer can come in and you can live track those. You're also able to store documents immediately opposite the line item in question. So it's much easier to track. You're able to set up a custom workflow. So this status is completely customizable. You can generate any statuses you like. You can create automatic actions that trigger, for instance, when a document's uploaded, that's going to trigger a notification, or when maybe there's a new line item added, that's going to trigger a notification. So you're able to create all these processes that you're not able to do in something like Excel. Maybe that's an internal document, it becomes an external document, and you have to bring everything back into the master document. Everything's able to be done in live collaboration here. And another piece of this is, if you're looking at all of your documents, all of your comments are laid out in chronological order here. You have your seller comments, your buyer comments, all of your files listed out. And I've set out a number of files there, including some with different versions, a full integration with iManager and NetDocs. So you're able to track any of your documents. And just for anyone's benefit, there's a live link back to that NetDocs document within your DMS. So you can immediately see what that document is. And the final thing, which is really, really useful as well, is our kind of granular permissioning. So this is something that's used so often in this use case on any kind of Q&A process, In this instance, the buyer is obviously, we've invited the buyer to the deal, and we're acting for the seller, and maybe we need to coordinate. So the buyer provides additional comments, and we need to actually coordinate before replying back to them. This is our sell side internal comments. So this actually isn't visible to the buy side. This isn't visible to them. And how do I know that? Well, I've a red padlock here, and I've applied our permissioning, which means that only the sell side can see this section here. So we can coordinate, we can get our answer ready, and then we can respond. Legatics actually allows a number of ways of doing this. So I have our local council tracker here. This is a separate list, and this is basically just keeping track of all the different kind of firms we're working with, and within maybe it's a multi-jurisdictional deal. And I've basically applied permissioning there as well, and it's just the sell side. How do I know that everything is set up correctly? Well, Legatics offers a unique feature that actually allows you to view as anyone else within the deal. And if I view as the buyer limited and I click on view as, this rebuilds the entire platform in their view, and this will basically remove access to that village or to that local council tracker. And also, when I come in here, they can no longer see those comments. So you're able to coordinate with multiple different parties internally and externally using permissioning, using the version control, using customizable statuses, and most importantly, from my perspective, using that flexible columns that just allows you to really build what's important for your firm. So that is basically the kind of cover I wanted to talk about around that diligence process. As I said, this is really commonly used across any Q&A process within a law firm, and it basically allows you to run a process that was typically done on an Excel or a Word checklist between all parties' calls, associates feeding into a master document. Everything's done live on the platform. You're able to track everything there as well. What else is really nice about this? And I'll put a partner's hat on here for a moment if I was a partner coming into this. So they're not in the weeds of it, but they're coming in and out and they're kind of seeing what's going on. And if I basically am the partner on the deal and I basically just want to see what's outstanding, maybe on my due diligence list, for instance, if I click on, okay, what's with the buyer, or sorry, reply with seller more likely because we're acting with them. If I click on that, I get a filtered list of all of the outstanding items where maybe we haven't provided a response yet, and I can basically action those. So you're able to kind of triage different things. You're able to basically work on them. You're able to identify the issues really early on, which leads to a kind of faster deal closing, better experience for the lawyers as well. I would usually ask if there's any questions at this stage, but we'll leave questions to the end. I can't see if anyone's asked any, but yeah, get them ready and feel free to ask me anything as you're going through. Or yeah, put them in and I'll answer them after. And moving on to the kind of closing process and actually just the kind of checklist management and also a bit of touching on kind of signing and then that closing binder piece at the end. So we've imagined, just set the scene again. We've kind of we've moved on from our diligence. We're kind of happy that's progressing very nicely, and now we're kind of focusing on the closing piece on the deal. So I'm coming into this and I have my closing checklist, and I basically want to see where we are. If I click on our awaiting review, as an example, I get a filtered list, which is actually everything in this instance, but I get a filtered list of everything that is awaiting review. Now, on Legatics, we would see 80% or about 70% are kind of using it or have used it with external parties, but some external parties may not want to come onto the platform initially, or there might be a reason why maybe one party who's not that involved mightn't come on. And this is a really useful thing that I used to use as a lawyer using Legatics, was basically the ability to send an update to external parties who maybe aren't on the platform, and I just want to send them a quick update. So the client is ringing the partners, getting onto the associate, asking for an update on the closing checklist. Where are we on this deal? All I have to do is click on export list. I'm going to export my filtered rows, so everything that's awaiting review. I can send that directly to iManage. I can send it to NetDocs, or I can just export it to my computer. And what this is actually going to do, which is going to come up actually on my other screen, it's going to generate a closing checklist. Just confirming you can see, oh yeah, you can see that perfect. Closing checklist with a status overview of everything outstanding, and then all of the items here. So this is a really nice way to bridge that gap between lawyers using the platform and lawyers by and large all do use the platform. But maybe if there's an external party not as involved and you just want to send an update, you can filter by, send it out to them, and kind of progress that deal a lot quicker. So we've sent that out. Now we're kind of working through the documents. Maybe we're reviewing final documents and we're actually getting ready for signing. And as I've said previously, you have all of your versions here. You're able to see live links to any of them. So if I go back here, if I'm in iManage, I can click here, see if this is the final version I'm happy with. I can get that ready for signing. And when I'm actually ready to get signing, so when I'm actually ready to kind of progress with the signing piece on Legatics, what I'm going to do is I'm going to push documents to sign. Just click here, and this will send them for signing. And once I've actually selected all the documents that I'm ready to go and I want to get signed, I can just go into my signing view here. So Legatics offers a really nice way of, again, bridging that gap between kind of, I guess, 21st century signing tools and also the more kind of historic tools, which I used a lot and probably more than I hoped I would, but getting documents signed by wet ink as well. So if you're using DocuSign and you're getting maybe 50% of your documents signed by DocuSign, that's done as one process within DocuSign. And you might have multiple envelopes to multiple different people, and you're trying to keep track of them all. Maybe there's one person with full access to it. They have the DocuSign license within the firm, and they basically have to come in and basically review everything and see how everything is progressing. Legatics completely removes the need for that. So you can set up firstly multiple envelopes within from Legatics and push them across to DocuSign. And everyone with the kind of access to this list can basically see how signing is progressing across DocuSign. We support qualified and advanced electronic signature through our integration. So it basically empowers lawyers to just keep better track and better project managing of the deal. And if I see here, so I've sent this document to DocuSign to get signed, you'll see that it says envelope created. So I've picked the document, I've set my parties, and it's marked as envelope created for those. If I go down here though, there's other documents that have been signed via DocuSign and signed and sent, and I can immediately see how different things are progressing across all of my documents. And I'll talk about wet ink signing in a moment as well. I can also filter by here. So I can filter if you have 100 documents that you're trying to keep track of across different modes of signing, across different envelopes. Everything's done via Legatics. You can easily see all of the documents. And if I just want to see maybe what's signed or sent and not signed, I can immediately see this. I can get onto the individual and ask, what's going on, or, do you need any more support with it? It's just a really useful way of keeping track of that. The other piece I just wanted to touch on, when a document's fully signed in DocuSign, it will basically come back as a final version, and that will include your certificate of completion and your version history as well as one final signed and executed version. Now, I want to jump on to a newer feature that we've, sorry, I sounded like Steve Jobs from there saying now another reason. Anyway, I want to jump on to another feature that we have relatively recently brought out, and this is our kind of wet ink signing tool. This was basically something that we kind of thought quite hard about how to approach this in Legatics 2. And I do want to run you through how we've kind of, what our solution is essentially for this. So if you are, imagine your DocuSign signing is going well, but you also have some documents that you need to get signed by wet ink as well. And there's these four. So I have my buyers here. I have it set up. I'm going to go these two, and actually, sorry, I'll just do one more. I'll get this document signed as well. So 3 documents I'm getting signed by wet ink. I have my signatures there, as I've said. If I click on create signature pack, this is usually a process that, I've used it in Adobe, and I might have my documents and I want to take out the signature page. For UK, it's Mercury compliant. I extract my signature pages, I put them into a separate pack. I then have the full document I need to send out. Doing that over 20, 30 documents, it can literally take hours. It's prone to kind of error because it's quite a boring process. So what Legatics is basically doing here is they're taking that work off basically the shoulders of maybe a paralegal or a junior associate who would be better focusing on kind of bigger pieces of work and maybe supporting with the larger transaction. And what we've done here is basically Legatics goes into the document and we use AI to basically look in the document, look for the signature blocks, and then extract those signature pages from the document. If I review it here, it will present all the signature pages. It will present the various individuals, and I can select here's guarantor. I can select who's going to sign each of those documents. And when I click on create signature pack, if I'm happy all my documents match up with the right document, Legatics is going to create a signature pack with the full document and also with the signature pages as well. So even if you're getting 10, 15 documents signed, maybe in a typical M&A or a reorg, you're basically able to get so much efficiency on that process of actually just generating that signature pack, getting it out to the client, and also importantly, getting it out to the various different parties. So if I go into my parties, it breaks it out for an individual signature pack for each party. And similarly, it does it for signatories as well. Once I have my documents kind of come back, and this is another process where at the end of a deal, you've run your signing, you have everything signed, everyone's a little bit relieved, they have the signature pages, but there's still work to be done to collate that final version. And it's usually obviously at the end of a deal, and that's at a time when maybe your fees have been agreed, they're maybe being paid on drawdown, and they're maybe held in an escrow account, so you're not getting any more after. So basically, you want this process to be as efficient, as quick, and as accurate as possible. And that's what we've done with creating our collate functionality as well. So I have one document here, our sale and purchase seed. And if I basically click on this document here, or actually, firstly, I'll just go up here and I basically uploaded some signature pages. So if I have my signature pack here, I have multiple different signature pages coming in for multiple different documents. But if I actually want to match up some signature pages to a document, so I know I've just done my signature pack in, I've just uploaded new signed pages and I've dragged and dropped them in here. And if I want to actually match this document in particular to signatory, what I'll do here is I'll basically bring it in, and Legatics uses the same formula that it's used to extract the pages to identify the signature pages. So Legatics detects two signature pages here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here and I'm going to see, okay, this document is signed, or this page is signed by the seller. And this page is also signed by the buyer, although it's, yeah, buyer. And then this page here is going to be signed by the guarantor. And what I do then, once I'm happy with that and I've matched up the pages, I just click on finish and the Legatics collates it. So it basically pulls that document all together. It's going to say that it's matched. And basically, if I go back to my signing view, it now all says this is signed. So this document is now moved from out for signature to signed. And what I do then is I can just click on this little document here, and I'm going to click on collate. And Legatics basically allows you to just bring that document together. So instead of using Adobe or something like that to basically match up the pages or File Explorer or whatever, you can do it again all from within Legatics. You can bring your signature pages, you can match them back in. You're creating an efficiency here in terms of time at the end of a transaction. We have our draft executed versions ready to edit. And this is actually something I particularly love from being a trainee, but also junior associate, although I did a little bit less of it then, is basically kind of the simplicity and actually finalizing that document at the end. So here we have the document, and I can also look in thumbnail view. This basically signifies pages that are blank. So Legatics can tell that these pages are blank, and I basically remove those. And then I have these pages that are now the sign pages. I'm going to go back to my thumbnail and my sign view, and I basically remove those two pages. I'm going to add a date signed. So I'm going to say today, 12th of February between buyer and seller. That's all set up there. Just to show you something, because this is actually something that's really annoying. When you receive hundreds of signature pages and they're like some scans and they're like sideways, you can actually rotate the document, which is something that, it's a nice to have, but it is something that really speeds up processes. And you can also add any text as well. If I click on collate, this is basically going to generate a final version of that document. It's going to save so much time. I can do that across my documents. And this now says that it's an executed document as well, ready to go into that closing binder. That's a nice segue into just talking about that closing binder at the end of the deal. So you have all your documents, they're all signed. And what you're going to do is click on create binder. And I don't know how long it's taken. If many of you are familiar on the call with creating closing binders, again, an incredibly painful process that can be so much more efficient. And if I click on closing binder one, so I'm going to call this closing binder one, and I'm going to just go and create the binder. I'm going to exclude any rows that don't contain files. That's my binder created. And if I go in here now and I go down to, let's say, any documents, so this document I've applied access controls on for whatever reason, these apply to the binder as well. So basically, you can have a separate buyer and seller binder. It's really useful for things like side letters where you can restrict access to them. And basically, you're able to create different binders for different people. And basically, from a client service delivery standpoint, everyone can go on to Legatics. They receive their binder instantly. They're able to see what they're supposed to see and download that. And it's just something that makes the client feel, the deal's happen quickly, everything's been responsive. I've got my binder ready to move on to the next one. If you want to download your binder, so if I export my files and internally, so let's say I'm using NetDocs, it would similarly apply for iManage. If I click on NetDocs here, and I'm going to go to my US server, I export it. This is the same as if you're uploading or downloading a document. Your NetDocs iframe comes up. I can basically select where I want to put that document. I'm going to select here. I'm going to select continue. And this is basically going to save as a closing binder. So my closing binder is now saved in NetDocs. That's stored safely internally. Imagine then, and I can open it here to view it. Imagine then your client is coming on. So you've been working on the deal with them and you say your closing binder is ready for download. If they click on download here, they can include the Word index. They can do it to their computer. And if I click on export, um, here, they get a full binder of all of the documents set out here and numbered as well. And then if they click on this little index, which if I bring up here, so let me just bring that up so I can see it. The closing binder is all in your firm's branding. So you design the house style, you design what it looks like. It has the name of the matter or the matter. It has the type of transaction. And then what I love is all the documents are hyperlinked back to the index. So you're able to easily click back. And from a client standpoint, they receive this, they receive it in your branding, they receive it 2 days after the deal instead of 2 weeks. They're able to then go in, they're able to click on any of these documents, hyperlink, and look back at them. And it really does give that kind of warm, fuzzy feeling to the client. I hope it does after the end of the deal. And the final piece I just wanted to touch on. So this was kind of a demo flow, very much focused on some core use cases in M&A. There is so many ways you can build it out. I did just want to touch on this local counsel tracker. This is just a completely different way that I've actually built out a matter in Legatics. Tracking basically if you're doing that multi-jurisdictional deal with 15 different law firms and you're just using it this, we've seen KYC lists used. We've seen issues lists. We've seen all types of different processes and steps planned, all types of different processes within Legatics. This is your deal now complete. Maybe you have your documents, you have your closing binder. If you're kind of taking basically one level up, so maybe you're the professional support lawyer, the innovation person for the M&A team. So these are deals going on, and Legatics is offering huge value to your lawyers within those teams. Actually, one thing quickly, there's a full audit trail, which some people will really like for that Q&A process, but just so you know that's there. But basically, if I'm in that kind of maybe management role or I'm a partner and I want to get more insights, we have something what we call the admin system. And this is basically giving you this really, really great data that's basically extracting deal points. So it's extracting information around each of these deals. If I go into my report, I can basically go into my matters. I can get comprehensive data on every matter, empowering you to track adoption and generate insights. You can actually see maybe how M&A deals are happening across different places. You can extract all this data, and it's really valuable data because a lot of the data people are kind of using as part of their maybe AI strategy is the data can be, it's tough to know what's clean and what's kind of a little bit messy. These are all deal points from external deals that you're acting on. It's all final versions of documents. It's all kind of negotiation points across them. You have this great data. You just extract it, put it into your chosen LLM, and you can or Power BI, and you can basically generate this amazing data from there. So this is something that's really powerful. Our customers have really started using this to get really great deal kind of insights. And you also, as I said, have our dashboard. You have the various reports you can generate across different things, but also you can manage your matters and users and the firm from here as well. So a really powerful feature. There's a Knowledge Hub article on it, which we can maybe send over, but something I think has been a really big impact for a lot of our customers. Okay, I think that is most of what I wanted to cover. Yeah, sorry, actually, first, Rice, was there anything else you wanted me to go over or anything? Or
No, I think it is a really good demo. Thank you so much, Hugh. Yeah. If anyone had any questions, feel free to drop it in the Q&A chat. So we have on the second uh, icon, you have like the Q&A button, so you can click that and then type in any questions that you might have. But in the meantime, before anyone submit any questions, I just wanted to also ask, like, from your perspective. So we talked a lot about how like law firms can be using the tool to like streamline your M&A transaction. From a client perspective, how does it benefit them in the transaction? Like, what do you see would be the benefit of Legatics for them?
was this me?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry,
In the
sorry,
meantime,
sorry. I was in my own little world there for a minute. Um,
more of
how does it benefit the client? Well, I think the key thing for any client using this is firstly Legatics is proven and we have kind of success stories to this. It closes deals faster. So using a tool like Legatics, it basically speeds up a deal because everyone knows what they need to do. They need to basically look at all the items they need to take action on. Everyone kind of can see that dashboard to track the various processes. So Legatics is proven to close deals faster. I think from a client perspective as well, it basically allows the client to kind of get better insights so they can always go on and, a lawyer might not be available or they might have a different, they might be in a meeting. They can go on and see the status of the deal and get kind of accurate insights in it. And then some of our clients, so this might be some of the, so some large banks in particular, but also some kind of large, maybe private equity and private credit teams, and basically like using Legatics because they might be working on multiple different deals. They're able to basically have easy access to track across those deals. So there's multiple benefits for different clients, and yeah, they cover a myriad of different reasons.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm not sure if there are other questions. So I guess if you have any questions, you can feel free to email us anytime. So this webinar has been recorded and we'll be sharing this with everyone, including those who attended, including those who are registered and not being able to make it today as well. So thank you so much, Hugh, for doing the demo today. And
No
thank you,
problem.
everyone.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.